If you're a fan of the show, you've heard me say many times that we have one of the longest tenure rates of any personal training facility, with an average tenure for a client being 5.7 years. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but nationwide, the average tenure of a personal training client is 18 months. So obviously we're quite proud of that, but I don't think I've ever spoken a lot about those clients that have been with us for 10 plus years. Now, I thought it would be a great idea today to have, as my guest, one of those clients to tell you what is it like to be a long-term client at Personal Edge Fitness today on the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. Good day and welcome to the Personal Edge Fitness Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Garrett Williamson. I'm president of Personal Edge Fitness. With me today is my guest, Gayle Hilburn. Gayle, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. So we're going to get started talking to Gayle in just a second, but first I want to tell you how to get in touch with the show. If you have any questions about this show, or if you have any questions about dispelling the myths of health, fitness, and wellness, as I've said many times, some of our best shows come from the questions and comments you give us. If you're interested in contacting us, you can reach us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at personaledgefitness.com. That is, of course, our website also, and our Facebook page, Personal Edge Fitness. Hit me up on X at Team PE if you are so inclined. As I said in the intro, our average tenure of a client is 5.7 years. And I guess since I'm repeating that for the second time and multiple times here, I'm obviously quite proud of that. Well, I wanted to introduce you to one of our clients that have been with us quite some time and worked with several trainers, and that's Gayle Hilburn. Gayle, do you remember how you got here?
Well, we were just talking about that.
Right.
I was having trouble remembering exactly how long
Exactly,
I had
yeah.
been here. But about 23 years ago, I got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis.
Right.
And I was a runner, and I also worked out a lot at the gym I was going to. But I was having repeated small injuries. I mean,
Right.
significantly took me out of action.
Right.
And one of my rheumatoid doctors said, you know, you're going to have to give this stuff up. And so,
Ouch. Y'all know how I hate hearing that. So
I was like, well, no. Okay, I can't run anymore, but I'm not going to give up exercising, working out.
Right.
So I went to the place I just started looking up where
Right.
can you go for personal training.
Correct.
And I tried several,
Right.
and this one stuck.
And we're so glad it did. So, especially since you've been working with us so long, and because you've been with us quite some time, we're very proud that our average tenure of a client's 5.7 years. I don't know if you know this. The average tenure of a staff member at Personal Edge is 7 years, which we're very proud of. Since I've said this on the show before, the average career of a personal trainer nationwide is 2 years. And so we're kind of proud of that. But because of being here now for going on 24 years, you've had an opportunity to work with quite a few trainers. But you started with, because we've got to talk about her.
Kathy, yeah. I started, and my trainer was a young lady who had a 1-year-old, as it turns out, and had just finished her PhD.
Right.
And as it turned out, she was absolutely perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, and for me especially, because it was just the early days of my diagnosis with the rheumatoid, and I was still working, and there were sometimes it was really hard,
I'm sure,
to work out.
Right.
It was just, I felt bad. I was fatigued too, because one of the big things with the rheumatoid was the fatigue.
Right.
And after work, I'd be like, I'm not going to go work out. Well, I would call Kathy to tell her I was not going to come, and she would be like, yeah, you are going to come. And I would be like, well, I'm real tired, and I don't feel great. She said, don't worry about it. We will do something.
Right.
And you will, I promise, not be overworked, and you will feel better after.
Right. Right. Right.
And she just always had the exact right workout to give you enough exercise,
Right.
but not stressed.
Exactly. Exactly.
So it got harder and harder not to call in to try to show up.
Aren't we glad to hear that? Definitely so. And we're talking about Kathy Fuller. And we have spoken about Kathy before. She was the first, talk about a blessing, the first trainer I ever hired at Personalized Fitness. And talk about knocking it out of the park. I mean,
She
with
was wonderful.
all due respect to my current staff, who many of them, in fact, most of them know Kathy, because Dr. Kathy Fuller, who is now the chair of the Exercise Science Department at Regents College. Kathy, please call me and correct me if I'm wrong about that. But she was with us for 12 years. And she was the highest degree trainer we've ever had. Now, we have master's degrees on staff now, and always, at minimum, bachelor's degree, but had a PhD in kinesiology. And that was meant to be, the two of y'all working together. She was
I really feel like it.
tremendous. Yeah, absolutely, me too. And which is why I'm glad you brought her up. And I have a funny story about her. If we have time, I'll tell it at the end. She hates that I tell this story, but we'll leave that alone. But, all right, so when Kathy left, and I'm glad you stayed with us. And so you've worked with a myriad of trainers, and you've gone through several of the changes with PE. I mean, the location changes, obviously. Well, you went through the first expansion.
Yes, I did.
Back in 2003, we did an expansion. We opened in 2000. And then, of course, the big move when we moved over here 7 years ago. Can you believe it's been 7 years?
Yeah, no, I can't.
7 years ago, moved over here. And but you've worked with a few different trainers, and now you're in our system where you actually work with multiple trainers. I have to ask you, and I didn't preface this at the beginning of the show, but your experience now working with a client coordinator and working with exercise specialists, tell me how you feel about that.
Initially, you get spoiled working with one individual all the time, and they know you. They know how much they can push you or not push you when you're not feeling good, whatever. And so it's a very comfortable place to be, working out with the same person all the time. However, I'm finding that exposing yourself to the different way different trainers work you out is actually pretty beneficial. Good. As long as everybody's kind of on the same page about injuries or illnesses or whatever's going on. And you guys have done a really good job of disseminating the information among the crew that kind of keeps everybody on the same page.
Right.
And everybody has a little bit different workout style. And, you know, some like to push you a little bit more. Some want to concentrate on balance, or somebody wants to concentrate on flexibility. And so it gives you a nice sort of global approach to fitness. Right. Not just going to the gym and sweating and
exactly, or risking injury for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, it just puts a different focus.
True. Well, and I have to tell you, and you and I have never spoken about this, but that was a very tough transition for us. That when we went from the strictly working one-on-one, just working with one trainer, and then we went to working with multiple trainers, and really why we did that. And the biggest thing I found that actually the first person it happened to was me, and client, I won't mention her name. This is somebody you knew that worked out with us. That I went on a not long after Kathy signed on with us. Talk about paranoid. I just opened the business, and within 6 months, within 4 months, I went on a 2-week trip to Australia, and had never gone on a 2-week trip before, and never had a business, and that left. And Kathy trained everybody while I was gone. And when I came back, I had a dear friend of my family, known him all my life, trained with me for years, who said I would rather work with Kathy. And I was, here I am with 42 clients, and somebody wants to leave me. It was a shot in the heart. And then what was interesting that I learned out of that was I learned that wait a second, there's different strokes for different folks, and some people mix better. You and Kathy were a wonderful fit, as a matter of fact. We started seeing that more and more amongst the staff about all of us train on the same basic code of ethics, but we all train a little bit different. And we found that the clients that work with the trainers that trained, that with a variety of trainers, were having more success. And so that's why we went to that system. I appreciate you sticking with us through it, and I'm glad. I'm guessing it's now been a good experience. Hopefully,
Yeah, it has.
Good.
And I've had multiple injuries over the years.
Right.
Surgeries, orthopedic surgeries.
I promise you, those weren't all calls by us. I mean,
No, I have a tendency to do some reckless things for a not so young person.
it's reckless things for anybody, Gayle. It doesn't matter the number on the calendar.
Yeah. So anyway, and coming back from these injuries, I've had really good experiences with people helping me when I was in a cast,
Right.
working out,
Right.
when I was fresh out of the cast, working out, or
Right.
after my hip surgery, you know, continuing with the rehab that had been started at the
Sure.
rehab facility.
Well, and it doesn't seem to me now. Funny enough, I don't know that you and I have ever actually worked out together, but of all the times long time as you've been at Personal Edge, but I have. It doesn't seem to me you've lost much function. Now, I'm not sure how much you have seen, but I haven't seen a tremendous change. Now, you may your experience may be very different, but I've seen your workouts here. I've seen you're involved in the dynamic stretching class, and do some of the whiteboard workouts too, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell me about your experience, for instance, with the dynamic stretching class. That's one I don't teach.
That has been wonderful, and
Great.
it got started a few years ago.
Yes.
And it is such a nice addition to the whole workout
Good. Thank you.
concept, because one of the things as you age is the different things that tend to be needing more attention are your balance, your ability to move in many directions
Right.
while you're upright and moving.
Sure.
And then the mat classes, again, just work on stretching, strengthening in static or
Movement-based. Yeah.
exercises.
Right. Right.
So, it's all been a huge addition, good, welcome addition to the actual workouts
Workout.
per se.
I'm glad that's something. Lindsay, that's one of our staff members. This is again the other. I've talked to her on a recent podcast about what a blessing it is to work with the staff that we do, because of the talents that they bring to the table. And Lindsay, that was a great example. Lindsay researched that course and really wanted to get that certification. She was the one that introduced it to the facility, and we of course carried it on. We've had 5 or 6 instructors
Right.
that teach that dynamic stretching and have put their own spin on it, from what I understand.
Right. Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah.
just whoever's teaching it and what their particular interest is. And
Made a
the-
difference.
yeah, it is.
Good.
I did yoga and Pilates, and then things kind of, I haven't gone back to the studios since COVID.
Right.
But we're able to do a lot of that stuff here now.
Right,
So that
right.
makes a huge difference.
I'm very glad to hear that. Definitely, and that's something. By the way, the dynamic stretching classes, we actually do them 2 days a week, and they're open to all of our personal training clients and members here, and they can partake in them, and quite a few do. I mean, y'all pretty well fill the
Right.
class
Yeah.
almost every time, of all ages and what have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I should have started off that way. You're not the healthcare field is not foreign to you, if I'm correct.
No, it's not. I was a nurse anesthetist. I worked in, can you name a place?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Please.
I
That's
worked at the University of South Alabama,
Right.
and worked at the trauma hospital, at the outpatient center, and then at the pediatric, at Women and Children's,
Right.
in the anesthesia department.
fine. Right.
And retired from there back in 2008. And so I have always appreciated a more sort of science-based approach to
Yes, ma'am.
physical fitness
Of
and
course.
health,
Right. Right. Right.
which is another reason that when I was looking for a place to come to after I got diagnosed with the rheumatoid, was a place that had that
Background experience.
it had a more health scientifically based focus.
Yeah, I understand. So, and I promise you, my yellow pad's over here. She's not reading what I wrote for her. I promise you, she's speaking from the heart, which I appreciate. I'm joking, of course, but we pride ourselves on that.
Right.
I mean, I'm glad we started with that. Our field is unlicensed, and so we had to have some way to have a bar that we wanted to maintain and stay above. And the way we did that is by requiring everybody on staff to have at least a bachelor's degree in the field. And I appreciate you saying what you did, because it shows that was a good idea. Let's put it that way.
Well, and that was such a big focus, and especially after you injure yourself, and you've got people here who will help you through that injury,
Sure.
over and above, regular rehab. And then you've got somebody on staff who's actually a trainer at
Right.
a local high school.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when there are problems, you can go, "Oh, Gary, by the way."
Exactly. And we've recently added to that. And she's talking about our sport med staff, which, of course, Gary's the head of. And that's, as you've heard me say several times on the show, I've mentioned the degrees that we have on staff, everything from exercise science to exercise physiology, kinesiology, and then I always tell you the last two, sport medicine and athletic training, because they're actually rehab-based fields. And I know you've had ample experience with Gary checking
Lindsay.
out. And Lindsay was the athletic trainer with us. And, of course, who you met, if you saw the show just a week or so ago, Kaylee Burkett is our latest addition. I'm not sure if you know this, but Kaylee was the
At Tulane.
former athletic trainer at Tulane. So, so it's great having that. I love having that additional staff. Thank you so much. It means so much to hear that come back, because that was the whole reason that we started hiring them. In fact, do you know who the first athletic trainer we hired at Personal Edge? Believe it or not. So, well, actually, yeah, that's correct. I'm sorry, that is correct. The first one we ever hired.
Don't know.
Rob Longhurst.
Oh, Rob.
Yeah, Rob was the first athletic trainer we ever hired, and he graduated from University of Mobile in athletic training, had a rehab background, and then Gary started shortly thereafter, and so he was the first one. And Chris Oakley, I don't know if you remember Chris.
Yep.
Chris was an athletic trainer too.
Indeed.
So having that is very important to have on our staff, and
Well, their approach to exercise is a bit different.
very.
For
Very,
sure. Yeah.
very. So what we figured out, what we deduced is that in the athletic training world, as working purely as an athletic trainer, they can't do any diagnosis. They can do assessments, but they really can't work without the permission of a physical therapist or a physician. In our world, we don't stray outside those lines, but in our world, as a personal trainer, they're trained in physiology, they're trained in anatomy. But they also have this rehab brain, which they don't leave at home.
Right.
And so I appreciate the way you say that their approach to it is very different. So and you've got a significant other that shows up here every once in a while too. So
Yeah.
How long have you and Jerry been married?
24 years, coming up in March.
Awesome. So
and he's reached a point in his life where he's realizing his personal approach to individual workout is not quite. He came here and then decided that his life was getting too busy
right.
to keep a regular appointment for a workout.
Right.
He much preferred to be able to just go and work out when he wanted. But he's reached a point in his life, we're both in the over 70 crew.
Right.
I won't say exactly how
we
old.
call it on the show. We call it our varsity, because you don't get to varsity until you pass 70. So
there
it's our
you
varsity.
go. So we're both varsity members.
Right.
And he's an older varsity member than I am. Anyway, and so he's reached a point where he needs a more structured, scientific approach to working out.
Right.
And he's really enjoying being back and having someone guide
Okay.
him
Right.
appropriately.
Right.
And the other thing is he's been participating in the stretch classes, and he's realizing, gee, I really needed to do that.
Right. I understand.
And he plays golf, and he's like, ooh, that stretch class yesterday really helped my golf game today.
Which is most important. Don't get me wrong. Rheumatoid arthritis, addressing that is important. But golf. I mean,
Yes.
that's the top right there. That's the crown.
Yes, and over the years, he's had people with actually work with him on specific muscle groups that were important for golf.
Absolutely. So we're
So-
making sure we're taking care of we have our priorities straight.
Yes,
Taking all the
please.
important things. You were telling me something you may not want to share. You don't have to share names if you don't want to. But you were because of how long you've been with us and of the variety of trainers that you work. And I have to thank you because you have a willingness to work with most every trainer, and I greatly appreciate that. But because of that, and you're a big part of our community, and that's what makes it so fun to come to work here is our community, is all the people that the culture of Personal Edge, I guess you'd say. So sort of like, I don't know if you're one of the ladies that do the whiteboard workout after the. Yep.
Oh, yes.
There, I know she doesn't mind me saying. I know Beth is involved in that. Mimi's involved in that, and they actually do the workout, then do the. Some of you have a session before, do the dynamic stretching, and then do the whiteboard workout together. And also, some few of y'all got together for lunch, just if you don't mind me saying, today.
That's fine. Yeah.
So, but that's so important to us because we want to have a welcoming culture, and people like yourself that have been around with us for so long had the experience with the different variety of trainers and the different clients. That makes this, like I say, it makes such a much better place to work, and I greatly appreciate it. So.
Well, thank you. And we have a group that gets together on Saturday mornings, and
Right.
we have all kind of ages and body habitudes, but we just get there and do the workout.
True. Okay, let me ask you. We talk about the Saturday class quite a bit on here, and if you had to say you were chasing somebody in that group, who would you be chasing?
Beth,
We've asked
the
a few people
oldest
that.
lady in the group.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's chasing Beth. Yeah, exactly. So I say that because you're in fantastic shape yourself, and you do a great job. And I'm not just telling you this to make you feel good. This is one of the big reasons I wanted to have you on the show. And but she's amazing.
She is. I mean, do you think she'd mind? She's
Well, when she was on the podcast, she said it.
her age.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's 10 years older than I am.
There you go. Exactly.
And she started way after me. In fact, she at one time said I was her hero.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. There you go. See, you're an inspiration to others.
But she is like so dynamic, so energetic.
Right.
She has come so far since she started. And now she's like a driving force.
Very much so. Okay, I'm going to tell you, that's come full circle. That has come full circle. You you said that she came up to you, and I remember her telling me this, that you were an inspiration to her, and you were, and still are, I'm sure. But she the reason I said it's come full circle, I don't know if you were at the presentation I did been a few weeks ago, whatever, I did Live
no, I
Age,
wasn't, yeah.
and I had Teresa. Teresa, I don't know if you want me saying your last name or not, but she's a fan of the podcast and a fantastic client. So is her husband, and she said that hearing Beth's podcast was what really made her help her make the decision to come here. And so she came to that presentation that night. One of the main reasons was because Beth was coming. She wanted to meet Beth. And she told her, I would guess that she had the same conversation with Beth that Beth had with you. So thanks to you, Gayle, it has come full circle.
Well, good.
Which I think is amazing.
Anything that helps people get healthy,
Right.
which, especially as you get older, you want to stay mobile.
Period.
You want to
Right.
keep the activity level up.
Absolutely. You don't want any limitations, and there's really no need for any limitations. And you live which is one of our slogans. Our mission statement is we seek to make people feel better about being themselves. And that's what we strive to do. But we do that, and I end the show with it every day, every time we do a podcast. We do that by helping everyone reach what we call their level of wellness. And that is, I've made these changes to my diet. This is good. I got that where I want it. I'm doing this much exercising and working out, and this is how much time and how much effort, what I want to commit to that. I'm feeling the way I want to feel. I look the way I want to look. Yeah, I can maybe improve this or that, but you know what? If I can just live here for the rest of my life, this will be fine. We call that your level of wellness. And if anybody has hit it and maintained it for many, many years, it's you. Definitely.
Yes, especially with a lot of things that intentionally or unintentionally, I've managed to try to disrupt.
Right.
But have ended up coming out in the end.
What Gayle is saying is that she obviously has a life going on.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And grandkids and you know, because I know we're picking up grandkids at some point in time. So yeah, that's called life. And as I've said on the show before, you know, we focus on falling and accidents and stuff past a certain number, but we fall and have accidents all our life. We just focus on it later.
Yes.
So despite the damage you've either attempted to do or intentionally done, don't worry. We can handle all of it, and obviously we have. So
well, and
as
you know,
have you.
it's interesting because my mom and her sister were both living together in an assisted living facility,
Right.
and they were scared to death of falling and being sent to the more nursing home. They were
Right.
living independently, but they were so afraid of being sent to assisted living.
Right. Right. Understand.
And it was just an overwhelming worry of theirs.
Yeah, crippling fear almost.
Crippling fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, they had all kind of plans available. Like if I fell, my aunt was going to keep it a secret and just bring
wow.
things to her in her room so
Oh,
they
wow.
didn't have to tell anybody. So, you know, you see what can happen and you hope that you develop a plan way before then to
Right.
help you be a better prepared
Right.
for the contingencies of more advanced old age.
Well, and also there's get busy living or get busy going the other direction. And the way I look at you is is get busy living. I mean, you want to keep going, and so you're keeping going.
Yeah.
Which makes a huge difference.
Keeping on.
And I think that's a great way to end this. So thank you so much for being on the show with us, Gayle. I appreciate it. And I appreciate we appreciate how long you've been working with us, but also what you add to our culture. I greatly appreciate. So, despite what Jerry may detract. No, I'm kidding, Jerry. Absolutely so. But seriously, what you add to it, it means a lot. It really does. So
Good. Thank you. I mean, keeping on.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we plan on doing with you and with all of our clients. Listen, if you're interested in getting in touch with the show, reach out to us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at garrett@personaledgefitness.com, which is our website and our Facebook page. Hit me up on X at Team PE if we can help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining us today.